All right. I want to start off, first of all, by giving our thoughts and prayers to the families affected yesterday down there at Mercy Hospital, and then, of course, with the family of the Chicago Police Department police officer. It just puts things in perspective for all of us, and I want everybody to know down there that they're in our thoughts and prayers. As far as football injuries, nothing changes with Lynch and with Shaheen. And then we yesterday we did not have practice. If we would have had practice, then Mitch would not have practiced, and so he has a right shoulder that we're dealing with right now, and it's something that is going to be day to day for us. And like I said, we didn't practice, and if we did, then he wouldn't have practiced yesterday.
What's your sense?
I don't know. I don't think he's going to be out there today practicing. And I think for us, the biggest thing right now is this to me is going to be similar, cautiously being the same way as what we were with Khalil and with Allen on a day-to-day type deal, just trying to figure out exactly where he's at, how he feels, and what's best for him and the team.
What is he telling you about what's restricting him and what's the pain that he's experiencing?
Well, he's just, we don't get into a whole lot about that. I mean, he's in pain, which is normal. But for us, we're, again, we're just, this has been a short, day and a half here for us. So the communication on that end, he's been dealing with Andre and the training staff, and for us, we've been super busy trying to game plan as well.
Coach, when did the injury come up?
It happened at the end of the game there on the late hit by Harrison.
Now, what's your sense for whether he's going to play?
What's my sense?
Yeah,
I'm saying cautiously optimistic, but I can't make any promises. I hope he does, but it's at a day-to-day thing for us. Like I said, it's literally he wants to play. I know that, and for us, but we gotta make sure in these situations that we're doing the right thing. So that is why, regardless of whatever decision is made or wherever we're at on game day. I think this goes back to with Ryan and his guys, making sure that throughout this roster we have depth and we feel comfortable. And so if it's something where Chase ends up playing, then that's the way it goes, and we keep moving forward.
Man, how much does it affect your decision-making on this, that it's a short turnaround here and you get kind of a mini bye after that?
Well, that's just part of where we're at right now. The fact that you don't have more time can affect it a little bit, but again, every injury is a little bit different. So I'm just going to rely on our training staff and then on Mitch.
Now, what kind of testing has Mitch had, and what has come back on that?
Yeah, no, I'm not. So I'm sure you guys can understand. I'm not going to get into the actual details of everything with his shoulder. We've done our testing on it, and we know exactly where he's at, and but out of respect to us and the player and where we're at, I'm not going to get into the details of it.
Is there any long-term concern?
No. For us, I mean, we're at a point right now where we're going through all that literally on a day-to-day type deal, but we feel very confident it's not.
Threw one pass after the hit by Harrison. It was kind of a throwaway to Trico. Could you tell, was that just a throwaway, or was he impacted by the shoulder?
No, I think it was just a throwaway.
Now, did you know yesterday that it was the type of injury that would impact him practice-wise?
No, I didn't get it. I didn't hear about it until the afternoon, until later on. So I talked to you guys, and then later on in the day was when we got some of the news as far as where he's at.
Is it something where you might need to
say that again? Yeah. Yep.
Is it something where you might need to elevate Tyler to the active squad regardless?
Again, we'll go through all that and figure out which way we want to go with that.
Could he need surgery?
Could he need surgery? No.
You mentioned moves that Ryan made in the offseason. Chase Daniel, what gives you most faith in him? What do you like most about him?
I know that Chase. This is one of the reasons why he's here. If we get in a situation like this where we have to make a decision one way or the other, this is why you have a guy like Chase. You feel very comfortable with him. Chase understands. He's been in this. He's our oldest guy on the team. And so he's got experience. Chase and I have a relationship and a coach-player relationship going back to 3 years in Kansas City. I know Chase inside out. He knows me inside out. So it's if that's a route we go, like I said, we keep plugging away, and that's a part of football. If not, then it's nice to know that we have Chase.
That play that he got hurt on, that was not a traditional feet-first slide where defenders know not to hit the quarterback. Do you think he needs to do that more as opposed to trying to go more chest forward on the slide? Is there an issue?
There's times where, depending on the sticks, the down and distance, where you will sacrifice yourself a little bit. You know, that one, I'm not sure, you know.
The rules protect him in terms of the field, you know, and field position and all that, but he still is subject to getting hit, whether it's late or all that. As he continues to evolve here, how are you sort of reinforcing that, yes, if you run, regardless of what the rules are, you're still subject to this type of contact?
Yeah, no, that's that's definitely a part of football. That's where we're at. I think you see it in every game. There's a lot of that goes on with quarterbacks that can run. That's a part of the risk reward. So you got to make sure that they understand how to not put their body at harm. And to me, that's not that. What happened the other night when he got that hit? There's nothing he could have done different. I mean, he's playing a game of football and got a late hit.
Yeah, just in general, after seeing your team, any better idea of just how much of a challenge physically this will be for your team now with this short turnaround?
No, I think our guys are very prepared. They feel good. We've been talking the last couple of days of where they're at, really just yesterday and now today. And I like the energy. You know, I told you before that this is going to be about being mentally strong for our guys, coming off a really big win at home. How are you going to handle that mentally? And then physically, just being less than 48 hours out from the game, how are you going to respond to that and making sure you – so we'll make sure that all that's taken care of. There'll be no excuses, and we're going to be able to go out there and just play our game.
So, Coach, how do you get Chase the reps this week with the short week? How do you get him the reps that he may need if he's going to be the quarterback?
Yeah, so we just have both of them stay mentally sharp. I mean, we're doing walkthroughs. So it's literally this is a unique week just because it's totally different than any other week. So more than anything, for every player on this team, it's a walkthrough. So classroom and the mental side of it is the most important.
How much extra are our guys doing in these last couple of days? I mean, Trey Burton said I had a 2-hour massage. I mean, is that what this is?
I don't know that independently each guy what they're doing, but that's an example. I'm sure they're getting all that. I know Andre's doing an awesome job with that side of it, making sure that physically, I mean, you walk by the training room and there's people in there getting worked on, and whether it is a massage or whether it's, you know, Jen Gibson, our nutritionist, making sure they're getting the right nutrition and then sleep at night, that sort of thing. You do as much as you can. Again, Detroit's going through the same thing.
We talked a lot over the last 6 months about Chase's behind-the-scenes value, but what gives you the most confidence in him as a player?
So, the number one thing that you learn about Chase when you're around him is that in a really good way, he's extremely confident in how he plays because he's so smart. The game is not fast to him when he plays. And the other thing with Chase that I've always appreciated is the fact that he prepares every game like he's the starter. If his time does come, he doesn't blink, you know. And so we ran into a similar situation where we had to make a decision with Alex several years ago, and you know, I think, matter of fact, this one was like literally hours before the game / the night before, and Chase didn't blink, and he went in and played it was towards the end of the season and did great with a bunch of backups against a playoff team in San Diego Chargers back in the day, and so the confidence factor that he has, I mean, he's been with a lot of good quarterbacks. He has experience, and you know, you have trust.
Man, what do you think of Mitch's ability to execute that baseball slide where it is feet first and really clean, as opposed to maybe some of the sideways falls that he'll navigate with a little bit?
He's good at it. Now, because he's running more often than others, there's different times that he slides and different ways that he slides. I've been around some bad sliders, including Michael Vick, and he'd laugh at it. He couldn't slide to save his life. I mean, we used to go out and jump on we used to put the slip and slide out after practice and try to teach him to jump. He couldn't do it. But then you got these baseball players that have played baseball in high school that know how to do it. Mitch knows how to do it. He knows how to slide. And so it's sometimes you'll see him slide certain ways because of angles of where you're at on the field and when you're trying to get down or not get down. And again, it comes with the territory.
So the overall, you think he's pretty good at it? I mean,
He is good at it. I don't think it. I know he's good at it. Yeah. Yeah, that was that was some fireworks there. Again, and you just see just the power that they have with downfield throws, and there's just a lot of talent out there, and it's a chess match going back and forth, and then who's going to have the ball last type deal, but just have so much respect for both those coaching staffs for both the teams, the way they're playing right now. I know that just talking to Coach Reed, like I always stay in contact, that they have a really good thing going right now, and that was a great game. So it was great. I thought it was really good for the league, and people like offense.
Matt, is that could it be a watershed game in terms of 5 years from now you look back and say that was the start of this kind of thing? I mean, as an offensive guy, a lot of people would say that was a bad game from a defensive standpoint. Say, boy,
well, there weren't there. I think there was 3 defensive touchdowns, weren't there? Wasn't there?
But still,
I got you. 100 and something points. Yeah, no, it could be. It could be a time that they look back. Now, people were excited. When you get teams in the NFL that both have records of that as good as they are, 9-1 going against each other, one's NFC, one's AFC, it's always going to be a big lead up. And then you have an unbelievable coach with tons of experience versus an unbelievable coach with not a lot of experience, and that's what people like, And so it was great in my opinion, great for the league. There were still a lot of good defensive plays in there. It's just to see those defensive touchdowns, the interceptions. There was fireworks, and I think that's what people like.
When you have a super short week like this, how does that affect your preparation? Does anything have to get cut out?
Yeah, it's totally different. It's a completely different week for us. So, but the way you prep for it is you prep ahead of time. So we did that when we went into the first week. We already had a plan for this so that we're not stretched by any way during this time, because it just like that. I mean, today's our normal Friday, so it's supposed to be feel good fast Friday, and we're doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday all in one, and so that's where we're at. Do I know? No, this is day to day, completely day to day.
Now, we haven't seen a lot of Chase Daniel, but it's safe to assume that if he has to go, it kind of changes the scrambling element with all the positive yards that Mitch has been having. Does that affect your pass protection or preparation?
Oh, I don't know. I think that no matter who it is, whether it's Mitch or Chase, they both can run. Again, we know what both of their strengths and weaknesses are. Chase has his own, and I feel like I have a pretty good idea what they are, and I'm not going to get into it here with everybody, but I feel whichever way we end up going, I feel good with both.
Matt, for this to have happened on an illegal hit, what's your emotion specifically because of that?
Well, it wasn't intentional. Again, it is football. It is an illegal hit. You always want to look at things from both sides, and you hope it's not malicious. But when it's a late hit, then it can be challenging for you. But it's there's just so many variables that go into it, and Mitch is a tough kid, and so we'll just see what happens.
Coach, you guys were extremely effective about 8 days ago with Stafford. I think there were 6 sacks.
Yeah.
I don't think you threw a touchdown. How do you replicate that? What were the keys to that?
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. In any game, you need to be able to stop the run. And once you stop the run and you make a quarterback one-dimensional, now you gotta disrupt the pocket. And I thought we did a good job with that in that game, and we were able to stop the run and then make him to make some good throws, which he still made some nice throws, and they made some nice catches. So this league, there's way too much parity. It's a completely different. You got to take that game that happened even just 2 weeks ago, throw it out, and just understand what we're getting into here. This is a very good football team that just beat a good Panthers team, and it's going to be an extreme challenge for us for sure.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Who started quarterback, dude?
Stafford.
Vic, Eddie Jackson told us after the game on Sunday that they had takeaway Thursdays and turnover film on Fridays. What's the biggest change to your routine when you have so many fewer days to prepare?
Well, you just got to squeeze 2 days into one. 2 days into Monday, 2 days into Tuesday. Leave Wednesday kind of normal. But having said that, when I say squeeze it in, it's squeeze it in through meetings, not on the field too much.
What have you appreciated most about Eddie Jackson's growth over the first season and a half?
Well, that he's improving still. He knows that. And he's continued to improve. He's a guy with really good instincts, really good football IQ. And he doesn't panic when he's out on the field. And when you can combine all of that together, you get good results.
What made him so effective once he has the ball?
Well, he's got good running ability. He can return punts for us if we needed him to. I believe he did it in college a little bit. So he's got running ability.
What was your assessment of the team's game on Sunday?
Very good. He played very well the entire game, from start to finish, and had some dominating plays in there. And I think he did a lot for himself to gather some off-season honors.
What type of progress has he made with gap discipline and playing within the scheme of the defense and what you're asking him to do from a spacing standpoint up front?
Good. He's Akeem's come a long way. As you guys know his history, he was in New Orleans, I believe, for 3 or 4 years and didn't have much success there at all. Went to New England for half a season, did okay, and I think a lot of people were surprised we signed him. And we saw something in him that we think we could develop and get him to play good within our scheme, and he's done that.
Vic, on the short turnarounds, does one side of the ball have an advantage over the other?
I don't think so. It's hard for both sides.
The first half defense over the last month has been pretty dominant. What is your sense for why defensively you guys have gotten off to such good starts over the last 4 games?
It's hard to put your finger on any one thing in particular. Just kind of worked out that way to a degree. I remember in Carolina, when I was there one year, we set a record for least amount of points given up in the second half of games. It still stands, I think. And now we're kind of the flip here, you know. We need to improve our fourth quarter. Well, Irving's gotten in there a few plays. Most every game he's been active, and we feel he's ready to go in there and uphold his duty to the defense and make some good plays for us. And Fitz got action in the one game here recently and did okay.
Because a defensive guy, were you able to stomach the Monday Night Football game last night?
You know, I didn't, obviously with the short week that you guys are all alluding to, I didn't see any of it but the last 2 minutes. So, but the score isn't what I like to see, you know, as a connoisseur.
They get three defensive touchdowns.
That game is like a watershed game for the NFL. As a defensive guy, how would you respond to that?
Watershed? What do you mean by that?
Like, this is the game where offense takes off in the NFL and never looks back.
I thought 1958 Giants and Colts was the big game. I don't know. I think it's just, you know, we live in such a one-week news cycle in the NFL. Let's see what happens next week.
Vic, what do you emphasize to Roquan Smith to get a guy on the ground and make sure that his tackling ability, which he was known for, really shines?
He knows that. We emphasize it all the time. Those guys are tough runners after the catch that team has, and he went too high. The guy ducked him and took off, and that was the biggest play of the game.
A lot of different guys are generating takeaways this year, and a lot of them are the same ones that have been here before, and there's a lot more takeaways this year. What would you say accounts for the big difference?
Just guys improving, number one. If you remember when I was standing up here in January, I said the guys that are coming back have to improve. You know, that's our number one job, and they have. And then you add a guy like Khalil to the mix, and Roquan and Aaron, and, you know, we're just gotten better.
Do you think Eddie Jackson would be a good offensive player?
No. Because I don't want him to leave.
When you play a team with, you know, 2 times within less than 2 weeks, is there any advantage, disadvantage, when, you know, depending on what kind of success, what are the factors involved there when you're playing a team?
I think the only advantage, and it's equal for both teams, is once these guys started watching and preparing yesterday, you know, the recall is there because it was 10 days ago. So, I mean, that part, but it's equal both ways. The same easy recall for them when they watch us, and knowing full well they'll do things a little bit different, not wholesale, but so a little bit.
Trying to anticipate that, or do you just try and stay away from playing that kind of game to not outthink it? As far as trying to anticipate what they'll do better, you know, try to improve on.
Both, you know, you got to anticipate a little bit, but you don't want to go crazy.
I think it seemed like Sunday was another game where Leonard was pretty active, but you don't essentially see that in stats. That's something you have to kind of constantly show him and remind him, even because he probably would want maybe some bigger numbers, but he's still making an impact.
I think he understands now that playing good doesn't always equal numbers. And he's playing good for us. You know, I think once he's gotten full use of his hand back, you've seen the difference in his play. Has it had numbers to back it? No, but by listening to your question and talk there, your eyes are telling you he's playing better, which is more important than stats.
What do you think the pass defense is doing well, not giving up the big play? Guys get it.
Well, it's just all 11 guys working together. And obviously, having said that, you know, still the ball's going to go up deep a few times every game, and it becomes a one-on-one battle, and those guys got to be able to make a play or two to not let that happen. So obviously the DBs are in charge of that first and foremost, but it is an 11-man operation.
Vic, you kind of hinted at it earlier, but does Akeem Hicks deserve to go to the Pro Bowl this year?
I believe so.
What is he doing better this year than he didn't do the previous 2?
Nothing grossly better, just everything a little bit better.
What did you think of Kerryon Johnson in the game he had against you guys?
He's a good back, good young back. He runs with power because he's a slasher. He's got some cutting ability. I think they got a nice back in the second round there for their future.
How do you view their run game without Kerryon Johnson?
View it? Yeah, they got Blunt and Riddick that can still do it. And those two guys are different. You know, one's a powerful guy that's got some wiggle and dance to him too, and Riddick's kind of a slasher, bouncer, cutter kind of guy. So they're very different, so that poses a problem.
Vic, your defense did well after an offensive giveaway. I mean, they got 2 field goals, but not a lot of yards. Do they turn it up a notch? Do you turn it up a notch, or is that just kind of coincidence that they were that much more effective after a turnaround?
Well, we just try and always drive home the point that we don't control how we get on the field, meaning the situation, but we can control how we get off the field. So we just got to go out there and answer the bell and, you know, hold them to a field goal or get a takeaway, not just automatically give up the 7 points.
Coach, Roquan is almost sort of quietly racking up tackles with your team. You almost forget that he was, the top pick for you guys in the draft. I mean, what's his evolution been for you in this defense?
It's been very good. You know, obviously the lack of training camp hurt him. But I've really seen him start to improve mentally these last few weeks. And I see it in practice, not just in games. So he's a really good player. He'll even be a better player. And I'm thrilled we have him.
Thank you, Vic. Mark, what have your impressions been of Mitch as a runner and his ability to protect himself, the body control and the awareness that all of that requires when he's past the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, he's kind of equal parts highly competitive, and so you have to balance that of he wants to get every inch out of every situation, but then you also have to balance that with being smart and getting out of bounds, protecting yourself, getting down all those things. But he's a competitive athlete playing quarterback, and will never take that out of him.
From a technical, mechanical standpoint of the slide and getting down feet first and protecting yourself however you can, what have you guys emphasized with him, and what have you seen from him as he's sort of shown he can go down different ways and contort his body in different ways based on whatever he's feeling?
Yeah, I think the latter's true. I think guys are I was laughing during the middle of your question because I was thinking back to Marcus Mariota is one of the greatest athletes, people I've ever been around, very similar to Mitch in a lot of ways, and was the worst slider in the history of athletics. And got him with baseball coaches and the other, all these other things, and so again, guys kind of have a natural way to get down or protect themselves, and Mitch has done a good job of that.
What are the difficulties of preparing on a short week and not really knowing if Mitch is going to be ready to go on Thursday?
It's the situation we're in. You know, we know when the games are, they know when the games are, and we'll be ready for it. I think the challenge of Detroit's defense is you know, the best thing probably in a lot of ways is us having played them so recently in the past that there's a lot of instant recall for all of our guys, and it's, you know, a quick turnaround that way. Unfortunately, they're still really good on defense, and you know, caused a lot of problems last week for a very good Carolina team. And so I think that's the bigger issue than the time. The time is the time.
Mark, to that point, I mean, you look at them; they're two different quarterbacks. Chase has obviously been around, and he knows offensive systems. But how is there like a Chase game plan and a Mitch game plan?
No. I mean, they're not that significantly different. Certainly, you're going to tailor things to one person or another, absolutely. But within, you know, the same structure, we're not going to change the offense if something happens. You can't do that. But certainly, there are nuances to whoever's in there.
What impressions has Chase made on you since you've been here?
Unbelievable teammate, unbelievably supportive. His role in Mitch's development and Dave Ragone, I think, can't be understated as far as how well they work together, how much he supports him, how well they get along, and that's not always the case. I've been in a lot of really good quarterback rooms, and this one is definitely that. And so in that way, he's been an unbelievable role player. He challenges our defense every day in terms of running the scout team, and he coaches every position. You know, he'll just pull somebody aside and go, hey, you know, the quarterback's looking for this or that, you know, something that maybe even Mitch isn't even into as far as the global understanding of things, and you know, helping those guys develop.
What gives you confidence that if he has to step in, that he could, you know, keep the offense moving?
What gives me confidence? Just his play, his preparation. He's uber prepared every single day, every single rep to go out there and compete in practice, in meetings, and all the things that, you know, you have to. It's hard. That's a hard thing to do. Hey, we might need this, or we might need that, or you're the backup this or the backup that. It's hard to stay at that level mentally, and he does every single day.
Mark, can you talk about the importance of mental reps for Mitch this week, especially since he won't be practicing?
Valuable. You know, a lot of our guys, you know, quote unquote, won't be practicing just in terms of how we're doing it tempo wise. You know, it is definitely more of a mental rep type of situation, and just the attrition that takes place throughout the course of a season. I think that is, you know, maybe that's a little bit lucky too, just the timing of, hey, everybody's kind of shut down a little bit this week and doing much less at a full speed tempo.
Are there specific aspects to your routine that kind of fall by the wayside? There have to be, just because there's so little time to prepare.
Today's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, so it's just cramming a bunch of stuff into one day. We had a couple late nights here the last couple nights, and the guys had a really good, you know, we had a set of meetings yesterday and a walkthrough, and kind of the same thing so far today. But yeah, it's all mashed into one day.
Mark, I'm curious, when you're game planning for the Lions a couple weeks ago, do you install more with the idea that this game is coming up? Did you plan ahead, per se?
Definitely. Yeah, we you know, we talked of, hey, we'll do, you know, whatever, A, B, and C, and A, D, and E are really good. Let's keep that. Or you know, for example, and you know, again, then there's stuff that happens with them. There's stuff that happens with us, as far as you know, they played us differently than they played everybody else, and then they played Carolina probably more similarly to us than they played everybody else. So there's, you know, some carryover, but probably not. So that is a horrible answer, I realize. Yes.
Frustrating to get Shaheen out there and then he gets hurt.
Yeah, too bad. I mean, that guy, you can see the type of impact he can have, and you know, I'm not privy to all the stuff going on as far as his availability, but very excited to have him when we did, and he'll hit the ground running as fast as he can.
Mark, what did you make of the 2-point tries, you know, the decisions, first of all, and then what you guys had up and were able to execute?
I am behind our decisions 100%. What do you think I'm gonna? No, no.
In terms of the aggressive,
I thought
behind the decisions.
I thought his whole management of the Cody Parkey situation, who now could run for mayor of Chicago, right? He would win in a landslide for a few minutes. But I thought Coach Nagy did an unbelievable job with the team, with Cody individually, with the offense in terms of just having a mindset of that, and then offensively going out there and executing. You know, it was managed very, very well, and so happy. And, you know, as I know the team was, and his teammates were so excited for Cody.
From a analytics standpoint, the fact that the extra point kick is back, and on the 2-point try, you get it from up close. How do you just think about, in general, the choice there and what you guys have available in terms of options? In any game, just talking generally in terms, because obviously it's different from college where it's more of an automatic anymore.
Right, and then the difference in college too, it's deeper. You know, it's a 3-yard try rather than a 2-yard try, and then the kick is completely different. But yeah, I mean, it's bizarre when you look at the first extra point against Detroit last week, hits the upright. You know, like what are the Vegas odds on that? And Carolina misses a field goal, which proves to be the difference. But yeah, there's a lot of thought that goes into that, and certainly the management of the team is something again that Nags has done a great job of. Just kind of massaging through all that stuff, whether it's the psychological aspect of it, the mentality and the preparation of being ready as an offense to go for 2, and you know, that's something that affects the whole team.
We talked about third down against the Vikings, and you guys go 6 of 12. What did you really like about how you guys were able to at least get 6 of them, 50%?
Yeah, liked 6 of them. That, you know, again, that against that defense, they're really tough. You know, they're really good even without the 2 guys that were not in there, and you know, had a couple chances to convert on a few others, and they made a few plays, and we made a few plays.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, happy Thanksgiving week.
Same to you.
All right.
Same to you. Chris, with Cody and the 48-yarder in particular, what was your emotion for him as the ball went through?
I was excited for him because I've always stated that his preparation through the week is always the same, and to have that opportunity and for him to seize the moment, it was real gratifying.
Overall, how did you feel like he handled all of last week leading up to that point?
Just like Cody does. Pro's pro. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. He stays the course. He believes in himself. And, I mean, he had laser focus, just like he has each and every week. It just happened the previous week that the ball hit the upright 4 times. You know, and we went down there Wednesday and Thursday, and he did a great job. And I think that I do think that probably helped because the wind on Sunday night was like it was Thursday night. Wednesday night was a totally different wind. So we had some good recall about where to play it and those type of things, and he did that and did a nice job.
Chris, will he continue to go down to Soldier Field before home games?
We'll stay with that course, yeah. I believe that we will. You know, I think there's something that, you know, every week will be different. Obviously, as the weather changes and those things, if the tarp is on and those type of things. But it's something that we'll always talk about and address, and I think it helped them, and it was good.
How was the traffic in the actual trip, the logistics that seemed to be an obstacle?
Going down it took us probably about an hour and 45 minutes. So it's a long drive, and then obviously by the time we get done, traffic has subsided, so we got home a lot faster.
After the game, Matt was pretty open about the decisions he was juggling there in that moment before opting to kick it. What is the special teams coordinator's role in that? Because during the timeout, I know you guys were talking.
There's a lot of options. You know, my job is to feed coach options. And there's a lot of ways that you can go with that play right there. Obviously, with the way our defense is playing, an option obviously is to punt the ball and pin them down there and make them go the long way. People will probably be talking about that if he had missed the kick, but Coach made a great decision there to send the kid out there, and he came through.
How much does emotion play a role in that? Because obviously I think everyone on that sideline is also rooting for a redemption opportunity for Cody.
I think it plays a part of it, but I think when you go into games, for example, in my area, I'm already playing the game right now so that when those situations do come up, you've thought it through in a very calmly way, and you don't let the other emotions get to you and make a bad decision. But guys were excited. I will say this: our team, it is a family, and they picked him up during the week, and I know Cody that he was going to come through for those guys also. So it was a good deal. Now we have to move on and build on it because, the next big game is this one right here. So we're looking forward to that.
We asked Mark, and just in terms of the short week, how is your preparations any different being so condensed?
It's the same with regards to, you're jamming a lot of information in there. The good news is that you played them a week ago or whatever that was, so the recall happens pretty fast. It's at the same time, you got to allow your players to play fast and let them do the things that they can do, and that's what we're going to try to concentrate on doing because this is a really good unit. They played really well last week against Carolina, so we have our hands full.
In terms of kickoff returns, where's the temptation to put Tariq back there?
I think I think that those are game time type decisions where you're at and those type of things. Obviously, he adds a lot of value to us on offense and in the punt return game. And so I think that if we do venture down that, you have to pick and choose your moments. Thanks, everybody.
Chris.